Hey folks, welcome to New Yankee Auto Systems. This is episode 18 of our Petty Chevy build, which is our street legal Legends car conversion. Last week we got stuck into laying some fiberglass. Today we're going to sand back what we laid last time and see if it was good enough or if we need to keep laying some more fiberglass. Just gonna keep on with the process and see where it takes us. So let's go ahead and get stuck into that now.
What I started with here was unclamping the ledge that I made last week to check over the fiberglass to see how the form actually laid. After that, I just did a quick visual inspection before I got into actually sanding and prepping everything else.
So the first thing that we're doing is unmasking our clamps and our ledge that we had to lay the fiberglass on in the one section. Just looking over everything right now, it feels well hard, so these areas that I was kind of worried about having not as much liquid hardener in doesn't seem to be a problem right now. This crack right here is still showing, but I can feel that there is fiberglass resin and mat underneath of there. However, I am probably going to grind this section back and fiberglass behind it just because I don't like that it's completely all resin in there. However, going over to our section where we needed to ledge to actually make more of a mold here, that seems to have turned out really well. So what I'm going to have to do with some of these areas is just trim back with my air saw, see what areas that we have and start cleaning them up.
I had all of the trimming done for the fiberglass I needed to cut away from this fender, so now here I was just preparing to actually sand everything, get everything knocked back, and see what my efforts had resulted in so far. The sanding was going good. Overall, I was just trying to get down to a more feathered edge inside of the edges of the fiberglass. I was trying to make sure that everything was a little more smooth and just reveal everything that was underneath. See exactly how my work had turned out. Here I was using my palm sander on the more flat areas to make a more rapid succession of sanding down and feathering all of these fiberglass edges out. Once I had most of the fiberglass knocked down, I went back to my brown disc on my rotary tool to start shaping out some of these edges, making them a little more rounded and a little more finite detail into them. I wasn't sure if this was going to be the last time I had to lay fiberglass, but I figured if I was to get these edges correct now, when I lay fiberglass again, it'll just be easier to find that shape in the future. Now that I've gotten most of the first stage of fiberglass repair and sanding done on the blue fender, it was time for me to jump back over to the white repaired fender to start seeing exactly how that one turned out as well. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/New Yankee Auto.
So here I've got my fiberglass repairs knocked back and just rough sanded just so I could see how the repairs actually took. I did minimal shaping on it just so I could get good lines and see where there might be issues. On the white fender here, this took pretty well. It's definitely going to need some more fiberglass on the back, but everything that's there right now seems to be holding. I've got some high and low spots that I'm not going to worry about right now because I've still got more repairs that I have to do on it. On this side, I'm really happy with how the ledge actually took on the blue fender, being that there was a huge chunk of it missing. I'm also going to have the fiberglass on the back side of that too, just to build up some area because there was nothing there. So overall, I think the process is going well, but overlooking the white fender and the blue fender, I have found some more cracks that are going to need more fiberglass repair. We're not going to do any fiberglass repairs today because it is really, really humid,
I don't have the time for it to sit in the humidity and just get sticky and really put my head down to it. I just wanted today to be about knocking back these repairs and see how we did on our first fiberglass repair. So overall it's going well, but there's still a lot more to go with it. And I'll show you some of those cracks that I'm still gonna have to deal with later.
So this is the white fender, the one that needed the big repair area there, which I cut out from my old blue fender. What I've got here is pretty decent. The 3 layers of fiberglass across here seem to be holding really well. I've given it a little bit of flex test. It feels pretty much just like the rest of any other fiberglass fender I've felt, or this one. What I am gonna have to still do is fiberglass across the back here. You can still see a lot of light through here. So I'm worried that this section being a lot thinner than the other fiberglass that's here for this fender is going to present a weak point. So when I'm ready, I'm just gonna buff out this area and I'm gonna fiberglass back here as well. Flipping this fender over, I found some more cracks that are gonna have to be addressed as well. There's 4 cracks along this area here. Some of them don't look like they're gonna be terrible. These 2 in particular are pretty straight. I feel if I just lay some fiberglass over them and then maybe wrap it around the back, that they'll be fine. This crack over here seems to be missing some material there, and it's a more jagged crack. And same thing with this crack as well. I may have to just use my air saw and straighten these out so that they're not so squiggly. These 2 definitely go out to the edges of the fender. These 2, they're close, but I'm just gonna wing it on those 2. Well, there is another crack that I saw that I didn't do anything with last time. I wasn't sure how bad it was, but since I had my sanders here, I was gonna sand it back and see, and it's pretty bad. It's gonna need repaired as well. It looks like someone may have been in here and repaired it before. This kind of feels like that's maybe, it almost feels like a spackle in here, but it's not a sharp edge like it is down here. It's raised, so I think someone had been in here and repaired this before. I'm just probably going to do my best to match this together because most of the material is still there, so it's got a good base for it. So I'm just going to worry about laying fiberglass over this section and try and build that back up. Overall, they're going pretty well. I'm just going to keep my head down and keep stuck into it. As far as the blue fender, I don't think there's much prep that's going to be needed. I think that one's pretty much ready to go. That crack in the bottom, I'm just going to end up building up over. And some of the other fiberglass areas are just going to be building on what's already there. So I'm not going to worry too much about prepping that any further. I'm just going to work on knocking back the rest of the resin that's on there, getting it ready for its Bondo coat that it's going to have when I get to that point. But I think that's what we'll call for this week's episode, episode 18. We've gotten a good bit prepped and ready for another round of fiberglass. I have recently ordered some of the parts for the suspension and other areas of the car that I need to get back to. This was a good project in between, something that I needed to get started on, but once those other parts come in, I'm gonna have to make sure that I get those set ready to go because those could actually keep the car from operating. Body work I can always do later. So as of right now, we're just gonna trudge on with what we got until the parts show up. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to New Yankee Auto Systems if you haven't already. We have 17 other episodes of the Petty Chevy build that you can watch on our playlist to get caught up if you haven't already. I do also sometimes do what I call a smash cut, where I do a quick recap of the most important parts of the past episodes, so keep an eye out for those too. As of now, we're not sure where our next video is going to be. I do have some parts on order. I need to get back to getting those parts installed because they are more important to getting the car running. Body work I can always do anytime. I'd rather make sure that the car is actually going to be functional and ready to go. Don't forget to head over to our Facebook page where we do still have some new Yankee Auto System merchandise. The t-shirts that we have are going to be used as a good fundraising project to help fund all of these builds, so we'd really appreciate you heading over to our Facebook page as well. Give that a like and a follow, and take a look at some of the merchandise that we have. If you want to help support New Yankee Auto Systems by buying merchandise, it really goes a long way. Otherwise, stay tuned next week when we have something that we're doing. We're always doing something.